Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for the Great Wall. This will actually be a discussion. The run-through was for the co-op mode, but we have played this as a competitive and now as a cooperative game, and I don't like either.
Yeah.
I don't like either mode.
Co-op was better.
Co-op was better, yeah, very much so, because the competitive very much feels like they wanted to do co-op, but for some reason we're probably like, well, we always make co-op, so let's do semi-co-op, and it doesn't work. And then co-op, for me, just didn't feel like a complete co-op.
Right.
Like, it still wanted you to kind of, like, not be against each other, you wanted to work, but nothing was cohesive, really, about the cooperative nature of it. Because really, what they did in the co-op was nothing changed, except you just can openly discuss what you were doing together. But, so, this game just feels, like, incomplete on both aspects.
Yep.
So let's talk about the competitive
Sure.
mode a little bit more. I mean, I didn't like it as competitive, but at least it made sense within the mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
And like, this is at its heart a worker placement game.
Yep.
And in the competitive, it is a overly long worker placement game where you are doing the same actions every single time to attack various horde cards, which are really just resource spots. And whoever has the most honor at the end of the game wins.
Right.
I don't even know where to begin with this one, because it just screamed like they wanted to work to go ahead.
Well, so a couple things, like, I would call a couple complaints. So, in a co-op game, it kind of works. So, the red spots have to be fully filled before they are activated. Mm-hmm. It makes no sense for that to be.
Right.
Normally, in a worker placement game, like, those red spots would be limiting. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants those spots, so you limit how many people can go into them.
Right.
Versus, you have to fill them to be doing it. Especially, like, competitive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where the green are kind of these general spots, so of course everyone can go do it. Mm-hmm. But the premium locations shouldn't be. But it's the reverse. That's weird.
That is
number
weird.
one.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll say that one tweak that they always empty at the end and it's just limiting would work better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because normally the way that the game works is everyone picks their card, and then their cards, so they wanted it to be kind of like a hand management where you try to read your opponents, what are they most likely going to do, just so you can get a better benefit from it.
Right.
Kind of like a roll for the galaxy, where I'm gonna do this action, but I'm gonna bank people here because I think they're gonna do this action, so then I can also do it.
Right.
Kind of what they're wanting here, but really all it is you just get to place more workers. You as the active player can fill up an entire spot, and you get resources equal to however many workers you have there, plus overseers.
Yep.
Yeah, having that and then the other players get to do something, so you're hoping that they also want gold or something, so they can put someone there. And you can negotiate and be like, hey, like, we can get gold if I put a certain number of people there, will you go there and so you can get something, but I'll also get gold or whatever it is. But whenever you're like trying to, you shouldn't have to try to make a worker placement game you shouldn't have to try to make the worker action spots work in a worker placement game.
Right.
Like you said, only a certain number of people can go there. Like, I'm going to fill that up so I can get what I need. Yep. Especially if you're wanting it to be competitive.
Yes.
But they tried to make this a semi-co-op, and where it's 75% co-op and then 25%, hey, I'm actually just going to fuck you over right now.
Right.
No real reason. Oh, I see you have an archer build going over there. Oh, I'm going to take Mystic Archer because... so you don't get it. I'm just going to make it a support person.
Right.
It's clunky. This rulebook is dog shit,
Yeah.
which is bizarre because Tainted Grail, Nemesis, The Edge, and this War of Mine. Well, this War of Mine doesn't really have a rule book. Those other games are fine. Like I mean,
Nemesis is okay.
is it? I thought. Oh no, that's right because
Nemesis is okay.
they tried to teach it like as if you were experiencing it, like they were
Yes.
telling a story as a rule book. Yeah, it was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I do remember that. It was all right. You could
was
still
all
at
right.
least play Nemesis and understand what's going on.
If you were a gamer, you could read it maybe once or twice, and you would understand
Yeah.
what they were trying to get you to do.
I forgot, yeah, because I remember Nemesis. It was like Johnny is running into the wall.
Yeah.
He plays a card like it, and they tried to make it like you were. Yeah, you're right. This rule book is 100% you don't get to how the game flows until page 10. Mm-hmm. And that's literally the end of the rule book.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand some games or some rulebooks want to be like, hey, here's some key concepts that you understand before reading the rules. I get that. Not, here's a bunch of disjointed shit, and then also, by the way, here's how a round works.
Right.
It's horrendously bad.
Right.
Which makes sense because they even have said themselves they wanted to make a game that they never have before. Maybe they shouldn't have, because you obviously didn't know how to write a rulebook for a game you don't know how to make.
Yeah. So my best positive note is the components for this game are amazing.
This game is sexy.
It is beautiful.
Everything
is.
The artwork is fantastic.
Yep.
You mentioned that the ballistas were historically accurate. The art is on the board is amazing.
Yep.
It's not that great of a layout.
But one of the cool things is okay, so you have work hard and I have work hard. It's two different art for the different clans.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's definitely they had this artwork and they're like, okay, let's make a game out of it, and then just kind of half-ass a worker placement because it doesn't do anything better. Even some major components of, hey, you can donate resources to the whatever section.
Yep.
What was it called? The warehouse. You can only do one.
Right.
You get 8. You get 7. Nope, only 1.
Right.
Why not? Why not be like, okay, I don't need 7.
Yeah.
Why can't I just donate 3 or 4? Or
I have a ton of stone. Why not?
I mean, if you're gonna get honor for it, at least be like, okay, yeah, I'll do without these resources. Because then that would make it kind of like you're gaining. Let's say you could donate 5, you get 10 honor. Okay, well now I'm gonna go and use those to build a wall section.
Which is fine because you're still only getting 1 honor for each of those resources for building the wall section. So I'm doubling whatever you got from the resources you spent there.
Right.
Which is fine. That's great because I'm using those, allowing someone else to get to them, and it just benefits the group.
And it really does because it's with the wall sections, everyone kind of wants to do that because it only further increases the strength of the wall because everyone knows, okay, well, that wall's about to be breached. We're all going to get shamed for it.
Yep.
So how about we just work together to try and at least defend the wall?
Right.
But then other people can be like, no, I don't want to do that. And then they just put one person on each. And it's like, well, I'm not getting shame. I'm out there helping.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, technically, no, you're not. You have one spearman guy out there. It doesn't work as a semi-cooperative. Most games don't.
Right.
Same company, I think they hit the nail on the head with Nemesis. Nemesis does work as a semi-cooperative. Mainly because you kind of call it as a trader game, which I can definitely see. This one, it doesn't feel cohesive. Even though, the competitive game, you can play it, even though it's long, and it need to be like a round shorter.
At least.
Because by the end of it, I was like...
We spent, 3 hours playing it?
About 3 hours, the first game. And because I was looking at, by around 5, even by 4 or 5, I was like, what do we do? We're just getting the same resources just to put the same soldiers on the same cards.
And there are a lot of games that are better that still take 3 hours.
Yeah.
And let's just say it takes 3 hours. Eclipse is a better game for 3 hours worth of my time than this is. In all my decisions, feel good.
You can play Whistle Mountain, Viticulture, and Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Yes.
Those 3 fantastic games.
In 3 hours.
In about 3 hours.
Right.
Maybe a little over. Maybe those 3 games. Oh, no, they're probably about an hour each.
Probably, if everybody...
If everyone knows how to play, yeah.
You had them all set up, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you probably could. And I mean, obviously, this game could be played maybe in like probably faster. But even then, all of those have a sense of progression where by the end of the game, you didn't feel like even Viticulture that's about making wine, you didn't feel like, oh, all I did was just move grapes around. At least I don't.
Yeah.
This one, because there's not really that many action spaces. 4 of the spaces are get chi, gold, stone, or wood. So
and then you have 1 to get new action cards.
Yep.
1 to basically say, screw everybody else, I'm going to go up and go first.
Yeah, the T track.
And then 4, what I call, like, every pull spot that build soldiers, move soldiers, build walls, get you people.
Get you more workers.
Right.
Which layout of the board is, I think, actually really bad because all the actions are like together except 1 for some reason. It's just over there. And then in terms of like seeing like horde cards, it could be very awkward. I mean, I have a table that kind of suits it that you can, unless really. Like, you and I were able to always see the horde cards. Zach, when we played, like, if these towers were here and
would struggle.
It's like, oh, like, what's over there?
And same as when I played over here last time, it was super hard for me to see what those cards were.
That's true, yeah. And then you had the artifact cards that were out, and they happened to be closer to me, so I just had to look over and be like, oh, yeah, those are there. Zach
had
completely forgot.
Yep.
And one of those happened to be about having more people, but because it's just like the board is extremely non-user friendly.
Yep.
The overseers, like resources are very tight in this game. Not that you need to always have an abundance, but definitely in a competitive game anyway, the overseers are huge to have. Nothing removes them. I will say, a positive about the game is there's no fuck you cards. There's no like, I'm going to kill your overseers, I'm going to take your resources. There's none of that because the game wanted to be cooperative, but they for some reason had an aversion to it.
The only thing is you can sneak in the soldiers if you're playing it but my order's in the correct spot. I can go and take a card out. I did that to Zach at least twice last night.
Yeah.
Where I knew, hey, we're even, so I'll just go up in the T-track to beat the tie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And then I was just going for archers.
Right.
Another positive about the game, and it's actually it's not really the game. Like, nothing about the board. The cards. I love the cool, like, I wouldn't say engine, but combo that you can have just off having a bunch of neat advisors.
Right.
And that's really thematic. Like, last night I had the person that her archers could shoot wherever.
Yes.
And she got to activate them multiple times.
Yep.
So I was constantly, and I had the mystical archers, so I was constantly shooting arrows and getting points for it.
Yep.
That's thematically cool, and that's mechanically cool.
It's the best part of the game.
Yeah.
By far.
Like, but the problem with that, there's always a but in this game, is to even have something that's cool, it costs so much to get advisors. And like I said, they're neat, but they're not like game breaking. Like all of them, I will say, are useful, and there's no repeats. Like,
there are no
as
repeats.
far as I know, there are no repeats. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are all completely different. Now, whether or not their abilities are like radically different from one another, but like for example, we had like the Mortician. Like if I could just, I mean, it would cost 4 gold, and it's not super easy to get 4 gold.
Yeah.
Like, I could have had, each time I attack with my horses, I would get 3 per honor per supporting archer. So, like, if I had, like, 3 of those down there, that would have been 9. So, that would have been 9 points per horse.
Right.
My Lance Master would let me pay a chi to attack with them again. Right. So, that's like in one attack, I get 18 honor.
Right.
And then, they were cheaper, or They only cost 3 chi to get with the horse breed. And if I got the Mortician, I got chi
If they died.
if they died.
Which at that point, you almost just sacrifice them because it's not that expensive to get them back out.
Right. No, exactly. So you can get a really cool combo, but probably 4, maybe 5 advisors is what you're getting in any given game. Which isn't bad, but it's also not going to win you the game. Because it's going to be too slow for you to... Okay, well, actually, you would need 3, 7, 12. 12 gold to get 3 more advisors.
Right.
And
Which is expensive.
Which is very expensive. I mean, unless you're able to get a Overseer max level...
Yep.
Which, once again, isn't necessarily impossible, because if you play an economy... and then you pull it back, and then you play your economy again, pull it back, economy again. But that's 3 full rounds just to get 1 Overseer in a spot.
Right.
In a game that lasts 6. So you're spending half the game just to get gold.
Yeah, I will say, and I didn't do it very well this game, partially because we didn't have a lot of workers with only 2 players, is spending the resources to then place an Overseer.
Right.
But we were sucking up so much shame. Like, at this point, I had 5 guys left that they have shame underneath them.
Yeah.
And part of it was how many times we had to sacrifice people. I mean, we sacrificed 3 guys.
Yeah.
That actually kind of hurts. Way worse than the competitive version.
Oh, no, absolutely.
It was way more punishing.
Even then, I'll say, like I said, I don't like either mode, honestly. Co-op was better, but I think it was only because the game wanted it to be co-op.
Right.
But it's such a punishing co-op, and it's a clunky co-op. The game is actually really clunky, mainly because the rulebook doesn't help in any way. You have... I don't mind the horde cards, like, as a randomness of coming out. That's also a little fiddly for you to not just look at the top one and see where it's coming. Because it's supposed to be thematic, like, you don't know.
You don't know where they're coming, so I can be fine with that.
Yeah, I don't really mind how these come out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, well, now there's 3 in here, that's 8, 7, but there's nothing competitive or co-op that you can do about that.
Right.
You're just like, okay, that's that. Gonna, like, I mean, yeah, if we had a third person, like, probably he could have come there. That would have been a third activation for us to get more workers out.
Well, I think what would have helped with Gone were key resources. Because, like, you and I both were struggling for gold.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of us had an Overseer on there.
Yeah.
And then it takes 5 workers. Well, let's just say we have another player. He has 5 workers to place somewhere on the board.
Yeah.
And so he's filling up spots. And that's where I think... Because I was trying to figure out why I felt starved in this game for specific resources. And I think it was because, like, when Zach was playing, we'd both be able to place 1 worker, and we would normally place them in the same spot.
Yeah.
And that fills up 2 spaces, and that actually fills up a lot of places for the active player then to finish it off.
Yeah.
So, that's how I felt about it.
No, I completely agree. And I think, well, because, like, the way that a 2-player game is supposed to work is you have an AI player, which is the Reed clan or whatever. But the problem with that is it's like you're sitting there and it says, oh, this can be used with either standard or the co-op.
Sure.
Can doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah.
So
I think it should have said use.
Yeah, you like 2-player game, you must use the Reed clan.
Right.
But even then, like, if people say that in the comments and they're like, oh, you needed the Reed clan to make co-op better, it's like, but I already don't like the fundamental aspects of co-op.
I agree.
And we played it with more than 2. We played with, as what the community says is best, with 3 for competitive. And I was like...
It was too long.
It was
too clunky.
Yeah.
I
don't... It just feels like also in co-op mode, or at least with the Black Powder expansion, the siege weapons that like we have, the cannon, ballista, and they were just super fucking stupid to arm.
Yeah.
You have to build a wall to shoot them once. You have to defeat a horde to place a spearman on a tower to shoot them once. They're not that good.
No. like if you could shoot them as often as you wanted and pay the resources. Now I get you why you can't, like, because the ballista was free.
Yeah.
But, whatever you had to do to activate it, whether it was a worker, clerk or whatever, to do it, okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah. Because what they needed, like, for those is board modifications. Like a tile that you overlay, that you place a cannon on there, and now that's a new worker placement spot you can go to.
Because I'll say, because we put in the horde cards for the black powder, and most of them are like, blow walls up.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay.
I mean, because what they do is the wall would get blown up, it goes into the rest spot.
Right. And some of it was like, okay, we have to focus on the things that kill walls, which means you weren't focusing on other things.
Yeah, the towers do really nothing except they're kind of like, you have watchmen that be like, oh, hey, I can see the horde. Okay, fire.
But to me, that's a waste because we're already taking so much shame, so now you're wasting another guy that you can put shame underneath or use, and he doesn't add anything.
No, he really doesn't. It's a waste of a person to go up there. Because I thought this was going to be like the tower. Like, you probably haven't, but have you ever played Stronghold?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay, fantastic. Stronghold is, essentially this, but better. Because it's 1v1. But that has where you can place, equipment in the towers and put, spearmen in there. So it's like walls that they push out and start stabbing.
Yeah.
That's what I thought this was going to be.
Which would have been cool.
Yeah, because I was like, oh man, maybe they get, enhanced because they're not out on the battlefield and they just can, freely
or
wound.
It just produces a wound like an archer or whatnot. So it's in essence, honestly, if you had put archer, like it was archer towers, right? So it's just another slot for archers to go into. Or even a spot because the towers can't be blown up, it's a spot for archers that they never die.
Yeah. It's only one spot, but an archer can go there.
And so then everybody's clamoring to get to that, which I'm fine with. That's whatever.
Right. Because archers are already penalized unless you happen to have the mystic archer. Because, you get honor for them being there, but you're also not getting... You still get shame.
You don't get resources.
You don't get the 2 honor that you can claim from hitting half the spots at least, if not more. Yeah.
So, without the mystic archer, the archers aren't very useful. You're not getting the full points that you should be versus other soldiers.
Right.
So,
I had a particular build that happened to be...
really good.
Made them really, really good. Because I got a bunch for having honor on it. Because in a competitive game, I only benefited because you and Zach kept killing things. Right. And I just kept picking off and I'm just like, oh yeah, man, I'm getting 4 honor, 5 honor.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting... I'm going to attack again. Almost at any given round, I was getting 10 points from just my archers alone. And that's the kind of stuff with these cards that make the game cool.
Right.
But everything else is just it's so odd. It feels like almost they rushed it. They didn't have playtesters to be like, hey, this doesn't really work as a semi-co-op. I don't understand why I would want to work with these people unless it's fully cooperative. Oh, we'll add a co-op mode. It's the same game, but you have unrealistic requests.
Yeah.
So, enjoy.
And again, I think you could make this competitive. It would take, honestly, not even that much tweaking to do it.
Yeah.
You make the red spots where those are minimum requirements, and you rearrange to wood probably should be the most, and gold and stone are going to be less. Right.
Oh, most of places to go.
For places to go. Because wood, while being useful, is probably the least useful of the resources.
Yeah. Think Everdell. Everdell, where it's all those good resource spots are very limited to go to.
Right. And it works that way. Champions does it.
Yeah. That's a good one. Champions and Midgard has the exact same spot. Yeah.
Because here's the other thing is, your cards, while I kind of like them, I can have 8 workers. Almost none of my cards allow me to play all 8 workers out. You're talking a worker placement game where I'm almost penalized for having to going and buying more workers. Name me one worker placement game where it penalizes me to go out and buy
and have more.
Workers.
Yeah, because usually that's the good thing.
Yes.
Is everyone starts with 4, and it's I'm going to do this thing that gets me my 5th one.
Or
Dune Imperium.
Right.
Another example where having an extra worker is really good because you don't have to pass as quickly.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean the only thing that makes like going down the row is because the way that the areas activate is if there's at least one clerk in a green, it has to activate. If
Right.
if
Yep.
the reds are full, it has to activate.
Yep.
And the tea ceremony is really only about what order, or the active player gets to decide what order, but as soon as it's just like, okay, I guess I'll do this one first. Oh, you're higher than me. Okay, oh yeah, you're going to pay 10 resources to build the one wall section I was going to do.
Right.
Yay.
Exactly.
Because, like, most cards, because the tactics cards are only for combat.
Right.
There's nothing you can do where it's like, I'm going to play this that lets me go up on honor first.
Yep.
You don't have any event cards that are in your own hand.
Right.
So, if that happens, because everyone gets a place, essentially, if you want to maximize all your workers, like let's say I place 3 of my clerks here, and then you get to place 2, you're not placing your 1 there because you want to maximize all your workers, so you're going to go to the tactic spot and the tea ceremony spot just to stall out, so that whenever it's your turn next, oh, you have 5 workers you can place, so now you fill it out.
Right.
But that doesn't seem efficient.
Nope.
Really, all that does is you just stop me from activating and placing 2 of mine, which is just
where it doesn't make any sense that that's the way it's done.
I know. No, I agree.
It's probably my biggest confusion how this game operates is why that's the way it's played.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I remember there was a guy on the board game Facebook group that he went to a retreat, I think, and he did like an extensive review over every game he played. I think he did on Board Game Geek actually, because I clicked on it and I was just, oh, what games did he play? And he ranked them, and most of the games he liked. And I remember he said this one, and he was like, one of the worst game I played at the retreat.
Right.
Like, there's no way I would ever touch this game again. And I was like, oh, he's probably wrong. Like, Awakened Realms doesn't make bad games. Well, not always.
Yeah.
I mean, they're usually This War of Mine, Tainted Grail, and Nemesis are the 3 games of theirs that are my favorites. The Edge is a subpar skirmish game. Thinking this one, I can't think of anything else that they've done. Lords of Hellas. I did not like Lords of Hellas.
Right. Not a lot of people did.
Yeah, it was. People online did, but there are of course reviewers who need to get paid to say
Right.
good things.
The reviewers who didn't get paid didn't like it either.
Didn't like it.
No.
I did play it only at 3, and it's an area control game, so it was all right. I know they're doing Lords of Ragnarok next, and I'm like, nope, I'm good. So at the end of the day, the co-op or the competitive is weird as hell because it's like an area control placement spot for the horde cards. The horde cards are random, that's fine, but then when the horde cards come out, everyone has to all of a sudden now scramble to work together. Mm-hmm. But then you don't want to do that.
Right.
Other Zach would probably mention negotiation. Like he mentions that he with like Scythe, like they negotiate a lot. I'm like, do whatever you want. House rule games however you want. I don't personally house rule because like I just don't want to put in the effort. Like I don't want to sit here and make their game for them. Like board games aren't fixer-uppers. I paid you $200 and something for a complete game, and theoretically, this rulebook makes it very difficult to learn a simple worker placement.
Yep.
I did not like the Black Powder expansion. I felt the siege engines. I felt what we had was significantly weaker
Than what they had. Right.
Especially because they stack. So
Right.
If they cut, like, imagine if they came out and it could have easily been 3 trebuchets.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, thematically, that's fine. They would do that. If they're a sieging army, they probably have a shit ton of trebuchets.
Right.
You know, I've said it multiple times, I'll say it again. Theme doesn't make good game mechanics. It's like, wow, yes, they did have 3 trebuchets. I don't want to sit here and be like, okay, we lost.
Yeah.
You know, I want to have a chance. So in the co-op mode, like, I thought we were doing all right, but once it was just, oh, we were getting a bunch of shame, because nothing changes. It's not like there's a whole nother rule set. You still get shame for hordes.
Yep.
You still get shame for not doing what the Emperor wants.
Yep.
So it just ramps up. So now you're still playing a difficult game, because the co-op isn't easy. Just because everyone's trying to still kill these things doesn't make it any less Or just because we're working together doesn't make them any less hard.
Yeah. So we'll say, again, to like the rulebook, if you need a full half page on a fairly large rulebook to just explain the order of steps,
Yeah.
you have a problem.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I remember because I had to watch an hour-long robot video
Yep.
after reading this, and because I read it and I was like, so what do I do? Like, okay, so what the hell are clerks? Oh, clerks are your workers? Okay.
Yeah.
And they're just over there. Also, to get more, you have to pay gold, and gold's already hard to get.
Right.
So, none of the locations are interesting.
Nope.
Like, to go to. Yeah, the co-op mode is a significantly tacked on idea. And hell, we didn't even play what they wanted you to do. They want you to still pick these like you're competing.
Yeah.
And then once they're revealed, we can then discuss. Fog of War, I guess, because technically Gloomhaven does that, where you can't talk about specifically what cards you're picking, even though I don't really do that.
Yeah. Now, I will say, for the mini equality, you could put this into your D&D match, and nobody would complain to you about it.
Oh, man, yeah, like, these have a really cool finish on them, almost as if they're, like, sun-dropped.
Yeah.
Because they're not, like, shiny, like most minis. Every clan looks different. Unless you have an expansion, every clan plays the same.
Right.
You just look different. Yeah, like... And I love this type of theme. Feudal Japan is one of my favorite themes.
Feudal China.
Sure.
Feudal Asia.
Feudal Asia, there we go.
Yeah.
Feudal Asia is one of my favorite themes. It just works for me.
Yep.
One of my D&D characters is basically is a samurai. Like, you can kind of get into the theme a little bit, but then it doesn't make a whole lot of sense whenever it's like, hey, China is being attacked by a Mongol horde. Oh, fuck you. Like, I'm gonna be the bigger clan. It's like, there won't be clans if you don't help us defend the wall.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, Kevin Bacon wasn't in Footloose. It's like, why are you so stubborn?
Right.
And in the competitive game, because I don't remember how much I won by, like 10 points or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I look back and I'm like, I don't know what I did. I mean, whenever we mathed it out, I was like, I guess I got a lot of points, but I didn't feel like I was really doing anything.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I want to be able to look back and be like, oh yeah, I did this and that was really cool. I really want to do that with a cooperative game. Oh, remember whenever we really strategized? If you want to play a game that the odds are stacked against you, and you're already in a hole and you're trying to dig yourself out, play CO2 Second Chance. It's the exact same where you just... Not the exact same, obviously, that's about climate change and this is ancient Great Wall. But in the terms of concept of how your back is up against the wall as a cooperative game and you have to work your ass off to break even and then start to do better, that is easily it. I can't think of anything that this game does better than anyone else. I mean, I'm trying to think. Are there a lot of cooperative worker placements? Robinson Crusoe is technically worker placement / programming.
It's really just worker placement. It just has an order for what it doesn't.
Right.
I'm trying to think. There probably are. I just don't play them.
Yeah, I can't think of a whole lot of. I mean, granted, technically this isn't co-op either. It's semi-co-op, which is just maybe that's why it doesn't work. Maybe just because worker placements are inherently competitive, you don't really ever.
I mean, kind of because they're supposed to be limited placements for your workers. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's going to be competitive. It's who can get there first normally for the premium spots.
Yeah. Best part of the game, I think we mentioned, was obviously the cool advisors. With the, I mean, you only ever get one general, which is fine. That's what differentiates you. But there's a bunch, to choose from. So that's really cool. There is a lot of variety, a lot of advisors. I mean, because you had your build. I mean, Zach had a card tactic build. Every time he played a tactic, he had ways of getting tactics back, play them, and then he'd get points for it. Yours was constantly being able to pull people into the rest and then send them back out.
Right.
And then I just had a volley of arrows.
Right.
And that's cool. I'd rather play that game. That cool card engine game. But there's other games out there that do that.
Yep.
I got fucking nothing else. I genuinely do not like this game. So, all right. On a scale of 1 to 10.
I think I'm still going to go with a 4.
4?
Yep. Don't think it works.
Yeah, I agree. I do think this is a below average game, slightly below average.
Yeah.
Co-op, I would not give it a 5 because it feels like a tacked on co-op.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna keep both of them at a 4. I was like, well, we're saying co-op's better, but as I was talking about it, I was like, no, not really. Not really. Honestly, if I were to play it, I'd probably play the competitive because that's what the game was designed to do. But it's not a good competitive game.
Right. Honestly, I felt like it played better competitively. I felt like last night's game was better than this one.
Yeah, at least we were able to finish it and have a final score and be like, okay, we played the game.
And I'm trying to figure out if that's just because it was 3 people versus 2, or if it really was that it just was not made for co-op.
Put it this way, 3-player game, we would have had another request out.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, theoretically, we would get to place more workers out and probably wouldn't have struggled so much with resources, but that wouldn't have stopped. That would have had because in co-op, the +1 is still there.
Yeah.
So we would have still had way more horde cards.
That is rough.
Way more deaths.
Yep.
So actually having the +1 with another person here, I don't think would have changed.
Yeah, that much.
And I mean, to be fair, like that's why I definitely wanted to bring up that we have played this its intended way competitively, and we didn't like either. Because, yeah, we did play co-op with only 2 and didn't include the Reed clan, and people could be like, well, you didn't play with the... It's like, no, we played both of their modes, and they both suck.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's weird. Go back. I can't wait for ISS Vanguard.
Yeah.
That's going to be their massive space story-driven game. So, just Awakened Realms, stick to co-op story-driven games. You guys have the best writing. Yeah. Oh man, what a shame. What a shame. But I guess a lot of people probably saw this coming. Whenever I know a lot of people backed out of the Kickstarter whenever it was on there.
Yep.
So, I don't know. It exists, I guess.
Yep.
Alright, so 4s across the board.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's our thoughts on the Great Wall. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.